My name is Hannah Rivera, and for the last 5 years of my marriage, I was less of a wife and more like a ghost with chores. I wasn't always this invisible. At least I don't think I was. When I first married Jake, he was charming, attentive, the kind of man who'd text me good morning before his feet even hit the floor. He worked in real estate, and I was a part-time receptionist while finishing a business degree I never got to use. The plan was simple. He'd work, I'd study, and together we'd build something. But plans crumble when people change. And Jake, he didn't just change. He revealed himself. It started small, a sarcastic comment here, a cold shoulder there. Then came the jokes in front of his family. How I burned water, how I couldn't even keep a plant alive. Everyone would laugh, especially his mother, Judith. Judith lived with us temporarily when she fell and hurt her hip. 3 years later, she was still there, and every day since she moved in, I was reminded that this was her son's house, not our house. Don't touch that wall, Hannah. It's real paint, not the cheap stuff you must be used to. You call this clean? I raised Jake better than to live in a pigsty. Dinner's cold again. You really don't have a maternal bone in your body, do you? Jake would just sit there and eat, sometimes smirk, sometimes at his own insult. I used to fight back, at first, but they wore me down. My business classes, I had to drop out. Jake said we couldn't afford tuition after he bought a second car, one for work, one for client impressions. I spent my days cleaning, cooking, keeping quiet. My nights, alone. Jake stopped sharing a bed with me months ago. Said I snored too loud and tossed too much. Funny how that was never an issue before his gym trainer started texting at midnight. My only escape was the corner store 2 blocks away. Once a week, I'd walk there just to breathe, just to exist outside their walls. That's when I started buying lottery tickets, just one, every Saturday. Not because I believed I'd win, but because it gave me 2 days of hope. I never told Jake. He would have called it a waste of money. Judith would have scoffed that people like us don't win things and we clean up after people who do. And then one day, I checked the numbers, 5, 13, 28, 40, 42, Powerball 12. I stared at the ticket in disbelief, then at the TV, then back at the ticket. It took me 5 minutes to stop shaking enough to open the lottery website, and another 10 before the confirmation screen loaded. $25 million. I sat on the floor and cried, not because of the money, but because, for the first time in years, I had power. I didn't tell Jake or Judith. I cashed the ticket anonymously, so with the help of a lawyer I found online, one who specialized in lottery winners trying to avoid predators. His word, not mine, but fitting. He helped me open a trust, a private account, a new P.O. box. I went to the DMV, renewed my ID under my maiden name, and quietly opened a safety deposit box. And then I waited. Because I wanted to see something. I wanted to know if they'd notice me before they noticed the money. 3 weeks passed. Nothing changed. Jake still barked orders. Judith still made snide comments. On our anniversary, he went out to dinner with clients. I ate microwaved soup alone, but then, exactly 22 days after I won, Judith stormed into the kitchen holding a letter. "Hannah, what is this?" She slapped it onto the counter like it had personally insulted her. It was addressed to me, from the trust. I had it mailed to the house by accident. I played dumb. I don't know, probably junk. She squinted at it. Says something about legal funds and dividends. Her voice shifted. You didn't sue someone, did you? I took the envelope from her calmly. Number nothing like that. Jake came home early that day. They whispered behind closed doors. I heard my name more than once. The next morning, everything changed. Judith made me breakfast. Jake kissed me on the cheek. And for the first time in years, they were nice to me, suspiciously nice. It's funny how money doesn't just change your circumstances. It changes how people see you. Or in my case, how people finally start seeing you at all. After Judith found the envelope, the air in the house shifted overnight. Suddenly, I wasn't invisible. I was essential. Jake brought home flowers for the first time in 3 years. Just because, he said. Judith asked me if I wanted to go to a spa day with her. The same woman who once told me my hair looked too common for a Rivera. I played along, smiled sweetly, said thank you. And I documented everything because I wasn't stupid. I knew exactly what they were doing. The real moment of clarity came 2 nights later. Jake came into my room, not the guest room where he'd been sleeping, and sat on the edge of my bed. "Babe," he said gently, "I was thinking we should take a little vacation. Just the 2 of us, get away from everything." I stared at him. He hadn't called me babe in years. I tilted my head. "You want a vacation?" He grinned. "I know things have been tense, but I feel like we're reconnecting, don't you?" "Definitely," I lied and placed my hand gently over his. He leaned in to kiss me. I turned my face just in time for it to land on my cheek. The next morning, he brought me coffee in bed. Judith offered to do the laundry. I almost laughed. These people, the ones who ignored me, insulted me, degraded me, were now falling over themselves to make me feel valued. But here's the part they didn't know. The money wasn't in my name, not directly. I'd set up the trust with layers of protection, thanks to my advisor, Ms. Kelly Rains, who specialized in asset shielding and strategic exits. Kelly was brilliant, sharp, and not afraid to speak plainly. "You want out?" she'd said the first day we met. I nodded. "But I want it clean. No drama, no lawsuits, no trace." She leaned back in her chair, smiled, and said, "Then let's give them exactly what they think they want, and take it all away once they're smiling." So that's what I did. Jake started bringing up joint finances, how we should start fresh and combine everything. Judith hinted at retirement properties, said I'd make a great landlady, told me I had good taste, and after years of calling my clothes discount bin fashion, and every time they asked me to invest, I nodded, said I'd think about it, even let them bring over brochures. Then I met with Kelly. We transferred the bulk of the money into a separate LLC. She opened accounts in a different state. We created a new identity for me, with a new address, new business registration, and a private rental under a shell company. I wasn't just walking away. I was building a new life while they thought they were stealing the old one. Then came the final piece. One Sunday afternoon, while Jake was at the gym and Judith was out grocery shopping, I sat down at the dining table and pulled out a bright, shiny folder. Inside were documents, mock-ups Kelly prepared, property listings, bank statements, projected income growth from a joint business. When Jake got home, I greeted him with a hug. "I want to do it," I said softly. "The vacation, the new start, all of it." His face lit up. "Really?" I nodded. "But I want to make it official, legal. I want your name on everything, just like mine." He kissed my hand. Of course, that's all I ever wanted. He didn't even read the paperwork, just signed where I told him. So did Judith the next day when I said I wanted to leave her something big someday. They thought they were becoming partners in my fortune, but what they really signed was an agreement to release me from every joint asset, a legal waiver giving up any claim to my trust, and consent to a business acquisition that never existed. They gave up everything and didn't even know it. I waited one more week. Then I disappeared. I left just before sunrise. No screaming, no dramatic exit, no goodbye note. Just a locked door, an emptied closet, and a single text. You'll find everything you deserve, eventually. I moved into a quiet town 2 hours away under a new name, in a furnished condo that had my initials on the mailbox before I even stepped inside. Kelly had made sure of everything, even the groceries in the fridge. For the first time in years, I took a deep breath and felt it fill my lungs. No insults, no pretending, no one waiting to suck the life out of me. Back at the house, it didn't take long for the chaos to start. The first call came from Jake around 10:14 a.m. Then 3 more after that. He didn't leave voicemails, just rapid hang-ups. Then came the texts. "Where are you? Are you okay? What is this? What did you do? Come back, we can fix this. What the hell did you sign me into?" That one made me smile. Judith called too. I didn't answer. Instead, I forwarded her number to my lawyer's office. By noon, Kelly sent me a message. "They've both contacted us. Jake is demanding to reverse the business transfer. Judith asked if she can sue you for emotional fraud. LOL." I laughed for the first time in weeks. Then the emails came in. Jake pleading, then threatening, then begging again. I stayed silent because there was nothing to say. They had signed everything, willingly, in writing with witnesses. Not because they trusted me, but because they underestimated me. Judith tried calling Jake's lawyer, the same one who handled her house refinance. Turns out he wasn't just her lawyer anymore. He was mine too. I'd hired him weeks earlier, quietly and legally, so to serve as a witness for the transfer forms. He'd seen the way they treated me. When I asked if he'd help, he said, "No woman who gets talked to like that should ever walk away with nothing." The locks on the house were changed, utilities rerouted, their names removed from any accounts tied to the LLCs. Everything they thought they owned, now under my control. And the best part, the final bank statement that arrived in their mailbox showing exactly $0 in the shared investment account they thought held millions. Jake called again that night, voice low, defeated. "Why, Hannah?" I let it go to voicemail, but I played it twice, then again. He said he missed me, that Judith had gotten carried away, that he should have stood up for me. It was the closest thing to an apology I'd ever get. But it came 2 years too late. I wasn't his maid anymore, and I wasn't his victim either. 3 weeks after I disappeared, Jake showed up at my new door. I'd moved again, this time even further. A coastal town, quiet, clean. I didn't know how he found the address. Maybe through someone we once knew. Maybe he paid someone to dig. But when I saw him standing there, thin and desperate, I didn't open the door. I watched him through the peephole. He looked like a man drowning. He knocked once, then again. Then he just leaned against the door and whispered, "You win, Hannah. You win." Then he left. No note, no yelling, just silence. I thought it would feel like victory, but all I felt was tired. Judith tried one last tactic a week later, and she posted a long, self-pitying message on Facebook, claimed I stole from the family, said I manipulated an old woman and ruined a good man. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because when her post went viral, someone commented with screenshots. Messages Judith had sent me over the years. Snide, cruel, abusive messages, and suddenly, people weren't siding with her anymore. She deactivated the account within 24 hours. I wasn't looking for revenge that day I bought the ticket, but what I got was something deeper: freedom. I enrolled in a business program again. This time I had the time and the money. I started a small boutique online, and every morning I woke up in a bed I chose, in a home I paid for, in clothes no one mocked. Sometimes I still think about Jake, wonder what he's doing now. But then I remember, if they only loved you when they thought you had money, they never really loved you at all. And now, I have peace, and that's worth more than $25 million ever could be.